Briefing document. The Ophidic Essence seeking a return to the origin. Executive summary. The Ophidic Essence, seeking a return to the origin, by Ophis Christus, and OVS, is a philosophical and esoteric text that advocates for a radical Gnostic worldview, rejecting material existence and the creator god, Demiurge, in favor of a return to a primordial, uncreated state of amorphous darkness. The authors synthesize elements from various, obscure traditions, including Gnosticism, Catharism, Cainites, Narsanis, Hinduism, Shaivism, Kali worship, Zoroastrianism, Mesopotamian demonology, and the Afro-Brazilian cult of Quimbanda to construct a coherent philosophy centered on the glorification of destruction, death, and the devil as a liberatory force. The core tenets include rejection of existence. Life in the material world is seen as an illusion, a prison created by an imperfect demiurge. True liberation lies in the annihilation of desire for superficial things, and the ultimate destruction of this created reality. Primordial Gnosis, knowledge and wisdom, particularly primordial Gnosis, are the keys to escaping this illusory existence and reconnecting with one's eternal essence and origin in the amorphous darkness. This Gnosis is accessible only to those who come from the shadows. The devil as liberator, the devil Lucifer or Satan, often equated with Shiva or Rudra, and specific X's in Quimbanda, is presented not as an evil entity in the traditional sense, but as the benevolent adversary to the demiurge, actively seeking to destroy the created world to free divine sparks trapped within matter. Dark gods and anti-creation. Various deities and demonic entities from different mythologies are reinterpreted as dark gods, or infernal hosts, that embody the destructive forces working against creation, leading to a return to the origin. Satanists as agents of destruction. Satanists are depicted as awakened individuals who understand the abominations of the created world and its creator. They act as sowers and harvesters, planting the seed of the devil in predisposed individuals to awaken them and accelerate the world's dissolution. Glorification of death. Death is viewed as a Gnostic muse, the ultimate passage to freedom and eternity, liberating the spirit from the confines of the material world. Necromancy and communication with the dead are presented as means to gain knowledge. Eclectic synthesis. The book explicitly states its goal to bring together all those who possess the Ophidic essence, even though they may come from different classes and ethnic backgrounds, by demonstrating that various myths and traditions share a common underlying essence of opposition to creation. 2. Main themes and core concepts. A. Rejection of existence and the demiurge. The foundational premise is the denial and rejection of existence itself. The material world is considered an illusory, superficial and momentary construct, a big prison created by an imperfect god, the demiurge. Our main goal is to deny and reject existence, annihilating the desire for illusory, superficial and momentary things, knowing how to separate them from what is real and eternal. All mentioned traditions have the same final objective, that is to escape from this big prison and return to the origin. Gnosticism states that in the universe there are divine spirits trapped in a material world, created by an imperfect god, called the demiurge. This demiurge is often associated with the god of Abraham, and is equated with figures like Ahura Mazda, Oxala, Brahma, and YHWH across different traditions. The world created by the demiurge is totally negligible, and those who applaud and worship this creator are ignorant and mentally mired. B. Primordial Gnosis and the path to the origin. Knowledge, Gnosis or wisdom, is paramount, but it is a primordial Gnosis offered only to those who come from the shadows. This knowledge leads not to happiness in this world, but to torment and opposition to it. The broader the knowledge of a person is, the more it feels tormented and opposed to this world. Therefore this return to the origin can only be initiated through knowledge or wisdom, which maintains man in contact with his origins, instead of dissociating him from his own essence. The serpent symbolizes Gnosis, the dark wisdom, immortality, and also the devil. The ultimate aim of this gnosis is to reach the absolute non-being, in the void and in the darkness, where nothing is manifested. This is paralleled with the Hindu concept of moksha and mahapralaya, the total dissolution of the ego and the destruction of all names, forms and the consciousness of time, space and cause. C. The devil as a liberatory force. The devil, Lucifer as Satan the serpent, is reinterpreted as a benevolent, liberating figure, the adversary to the imperfect creator and his flawed creation. His essence is wrathful and homicidal because his goal is the destruction of the created world. For us, the serpent symbolizes Gnosis, the dark wisdom, immortality, and also the devil. The essence of the devil is manifested by the wrathful form, but also through wisdom. The devil is homicidal since the beginning because the devil, by principle, has the goal of sacrificing this created world. Satan as a Lucifer is the enemy who sows, the harvest is the end of the world, and the harvesters are the demons. The devil came to kill and destroy this created world, to take back the divine sparks, inundating the earth and all the universe in darkness, leading to the absolute liberation of the spirit. Lucifer is the one who shows mankind that through wisdom we can see the deepest level of our own essence and recognize the manifestation from the pre-cosmic spirit, distinguishing the true and eternal from the fleeting and changeable, and consequently annihilating the desire of worshipping existence and awakening our killer instinct. D. Dark gods and forces of anti-creation. The text identifies various deities and entities from different mythologies as manifestations of the dark gods, or infernal hosts, who oppose the Demiurge and seek the destruction of the material world. Shiva or Rudra, Hinduism described as the destroyer, particularly in his wrathful manifestation Bhairava, who is associated to the final dissolution of this created world. Shiva holding the decapitated head of Brahma, the Demiurge, is seen as a true manifestation of the adversary. Kali, Hinduism. Shiva's wife, who existed in the form of darkness before the beginning of the created world, and is associated with the end of everything. She devourest Mahakala himself. Ahriman, Zoroastrianism, the great serpent, hostile and destructive, the chaos that calls beyond the stars, the antithesis of the created universe, which resides in the darkness of immense emptiness, and he seeks to destroy the entire creation of Ahura Mazda. His demonic retinue includes Ishma, wrath, Arka mana, malignant mind, Apayosha, drought, Astovidad, death, Je, Ahriman's consort, Drudge Nezu, fly demon, and Arzi Dahak, three-headed dragon. Mesopotamian chaos gods, Tiamat, the mother of them both, representing the primordial ocean, and her army of 11 creatures, monsters. The Sabiti, the forbidden weapons, are personifications of the primordial chaos, bringing death, chaos, and disease. Pasitu and Lamashtu are also significant demons. Quimbanda Exus and Pomba Gyras. These Afro-Brazilian entities are reinterpreted as manifestations of the dark gods and spirits of the dead connected to Sitra Ara, the other side. Primordial Exus, Exu Maioral, Lucifer, Exu Beelzebuth, Lord of Flies, Devourer of Corpses, Pomba Gyra Altiza, associated with Lilith, Mother of Doom and Destruction, Lady of the Crossroads, the Moon, the Serpents and the Shadows, Pomba Gyra Dharma Dusang, Lady of Bloodshed, linked to chalices of blood and the Black Grail. Exus Caticos, spirits of ancient sorcerers, priests, murderers who achieved a baptism in the spiritual world, e.g., Exu Carpa Preta, Exu Morcego, Tata Kvira. Angels of Death, Exu Omolu and Exu Da Mort are considered angels of death, who command the spirits of the dead and are connected to portals between Sitra Ara and the created world. Satanists as harbingers of destruction. Satanists are portrayed as an awakened elite, possessing the Ophidic essence and the essence of the devil. Their role is active participation in the undoing of creation. Satanists are beings who have been able to awaken the firstborn memory from the self-lost divinity, and are able to conduct new individuals, only those who have Gnostic predisposition, to this liberation. They plant the seed of the devil in the subconscious minds of beings who have Gnostic predisposition. They are a soldier prepared for the Armageddon, someone who will open portals to the dark dimensions, generating internal and external changes to destroy this illusory world. They despise the created world and its creator, and support the elimination of the useless, those who are neither awake nor they possess Gnostic predisposition, living hypnotized by this illusory world. F. Glorification of death and necromancy. Death is not an end, but a liberation, a passage to eternity, and a return to the origin. One of the first steps the adept takes, when he begins to acquire a supreme wisdom, is the glorification of death, because death is the Gnostic muse. Only through it we can free ourselves completely from this world. The Etruscan civilization is highlighted for its deep connection to death, where ancestors became spiritual gods, and necropolises were places of festivity, not mourning. Necromancy is the art of evoking the dead, so they can be consulted, a means to obtain knowledge. Gnosis originated from the dead. This is linked to the opening of the third eye. G. The Black Grail and the Eye of Lucifer Shiva. The Black Grail is presented as a sacred acausal chalice that emits acausal energies, awakening mankind to liberate the spirit strapped to matter. The light of Lucifer leads to a dichotomy, because we sustain two different situations. The first is that the broader the knowledge of a being is, the more it feels to be tormented and opposed to this world. In contrast, people who have a lack of knowledge consider life more pleasant, because ignorance makes these people worship creation and the God Creator. The Eye of Lucifer, or Shiva Rudra, also known as the Third Eye, or Sacred Eye of Destruction, is crucial for subtle perception, intuition, and self-knowledge. It allows one to see beyond the world of appearances, and distinguish the true and eternal from the fleeting and changeable. This is linked to the pineal gland. H. Reinterpretation of mythology and eclectic synthesis. The authors explicitly state that myths are real tools to manifest essence and interpret reality. They reject traditional interpretations of myths, especially those that assert a single god, or worship creation. Many of these legends and myths were extremely manipulated to be able to assert the idea of a single god, or just to worship creation. The text frequently reinterprets figures like Lucifer, not a fallen angel, nor a pagan god, but the serpent of Gnosis, Christ, the symbol of the spirit within, not the Jesus man made of matter, and the narratives of creation, seeing chaos as opposed to, not created by, the Demiurge. The authors blend diverse traditions: Gnosticism, Hinduism, Zoroastrianism, Mesopotamian, Etruscan, and Quimbanda, arguing that despite different names and forms, they share the same underlying essence of anti-creation and a desire to return to the primordial darkness. The truth is one, though the sages know it as many. What really matters behind all the names, forms and myths though is the essence that is behind all this. 3. Key beliefs and practices, Quimbanda focus. The latter part of the text delves significantly into Quimbanda, as a prominent example of a necromantic and witchcraft cult that aligns with the author's Gnostic philosophy. A. Quimbanda's origins and nature. Quimbanda is presented as a dark, powerful, and dangerous cult synthesizing elements from African, Bantus, Angola-Congo, Mkisi-Nkisis, European witchcraft, and South American indigenous traditions. It arose as a strong opposition to Christianity, with evangelized African groups and indigenous peoples gathering obscure elements of their cults to oppose the Christian God. Crucially, the text emphasizes, Quimbanda is not, and never was, a ramification of Umbanda. It explicitly states that in Quimbanda there is no cult to Erixas. In this cult the Exes do not answer to Erixas. Most Erixas are seen as having energies opposed to the Exes, with Oxala explicitly called the Demiurge himself. B. Exes and Pomba Gyras. Exes are identified as those who open the paths, holding the keys to all the closed paths. They can bring great blessings as well as death and curse. Primordial Exes, deities born in the first place, embodying the essence of Sitra. Examples: Exu Mayoral, Lucifer; Exu Belzebuth, Pomba Gyra Altiza, associated with Lilith, Pomba Gyra Dharma Du Sang. Exes Katikos, spirits of individuals who were incarnated in this world and achieved a prominent position and a baptism in the spiritual world, becoming exes. They were ancient wizards, priests, sorcerers or assassins, who practiced the left-hand path, e.g., Exu Karpa Preta, Exu Morcego, Tata Kvira. Vampiric aspect. Some exes and Pomba Gyras, e.g., Exu Vampiro, Exu Morcego, Exu Lobo, Exu Du Sang, Dharma Du Sang, act as vampires, transforming vitality into chaotic energy, draining energy from other living beings and from the tree of life and take it back to their true origin. C. Quimbanda practices. Offerings and rituals. Performed on Mondays and Fridays, offerings include black, red, and purple candles, alcoholic beverages, cigarettes, cigars, and sacrifices, e.g., ox heart or liver, black rooster blood. Items must be virgin, never used before. Offerings are given in odd numbers. Ritual locations: cemeteries, catacombs, crossroads, cemetery cruzeros, woods, beaches, rivers. Purpose of offerings: not for the entity's physical consumption, but energy vehicles, tools to facilitate the connection between the follower and the entity, and to demonstrate devotion. Settlements, fetishes, physical objects that concentrate magical powers and vibrations from the spiritual and divine planes. They act as energetic links between the adept and the entity. A detailed example for Exu Seat Campus involves specific items and a black rooster sacrifice. Sung and scratched points. Ceremonial invocations, or sacred chants, used to call entities, permeate adepts with new energies, and open doors of the unconscious to dark emanations. Scratched points are drawn or carved to dedicate offerings or invoke entities. D. Quimbanda kingdoms and lines. 7 kingdoms. Extensive areas where entities work, each headed by an Exu Ray and Pomba Gyra Rainier. These include crossroads, cruzeros, woods, cemeteries, small Kalunga, souls, Lyra, and Great Kalunga, ocean. 7 lines, ways to organize and work with entities, each with 7 exes and heads of legions. Examples: Malay line, Exu Ray; line of the souls, Omolu; line of cemetery skulls, Exu Kvira; Nago line, Exu Jarir; Mosarubi line, Exu Kaminaloa; line of caboclos Quimbanderos, Exu Pantera Negra; mixed line, Exu dos Rios, or Campinas. 4. Core philosophy and worldview. Radical dualism. A fundamental conflict exists between light, order, the Demiurge's creation, and darkness, the chaos, the primordial, uncreated state, Sitra. This directly contrasts with mainstream views that seek balance. A causal energies. The uncreated light, or sinister light, originates from Ein Sof Sitra, acting as malevolent wrath against the divine Demiurge. It penetrates the created universe, sullying it, decomposing it, and guiding divine essence, the sparks of uncreated light, the acausal energies, trapped in the matter, guiding them back to Sitra. Victory of darkness. The text posits an inevitable triumph of darkness over light. Sooner or later all life will be destroyed, the whole universe will die. The victory of the devil over creation is a matter of time. Time will destroy everything, making death reign, and then the devil will devour time itself. Humanity divided. Humans are categorized into those with Gnostic predisposition, the awakened few, a new race of beings, predators of other humans, and the useless human herd, who are ignorant, live hypnotized by the illusory world, and rejoice and applaud those forces which created this negligible world. Internal transformation for external action. Black magic practices aim for internal changes in the individual, transforming him into a new being, stronger and with a much broader view of the reality, to then enable external magic, sorcery, with more concrete objectives and goals. V. Important ideas or facts. Lucifer's etymology. The name Lucifer, in the Bible, Isaiah 14 verse 12, is a result of a translation error by Jerome, mistakenly rendering morning star, referring to the king of Babylon, as Lucifer, conflating it with a pagan deity. Kabbalah reinterpretation. The authors assert that Jewish Kabbalah manipulated earlier Mesopotamian traditions. They reject the idea of YHWH creating both light and darkness, instead seeing chaos and the ineffable darkness as entirely opposed to YHWH and his creation. The tree of death is the true path to liberation, while for Jews, its fruits represent falling into temptation. Sumerian influence. Mesopotamian traditions, particularly Sumerian creation myths, Enuma Elish, with their concept of a primordial chaos, Tiamat, opposed by gods of order, heavily influenced later Hebrew and Christian cosmologies. The Hebrew, Tohu Bohu, and Tehom, are directly linked to Sumerian chaotic descriptions. Pineal gland, a third eye. The eye of Lucifer, Shiva or Rudra, is linked to the pineal gland, which is seen as an antenna capable of capturing information beyond the physical senses, connecting to the causal energies and the dead, and enabling subtle perception and intuition. Black magic's purpose, not for material goods or mundane, superficial things, but for generating internal changes, and transforming him, the individual, into a new being. Dogmatic barriers. The work is intended for those free from dogmatic barriers, from preset parameters and prejudices, who can understand its concepts on philosophical and psychosomatic levels.